this brand new episode of the DJ Set Rockers. If you listen to episode number 1, I chose Vitalic's LA Rock 01 as a choice for that particular session. So if you have had that record, let me know what you think. Am I right? Have you played it in your DJ sets? Let me know your thoughts on that record. So this is episode 2, and again, this is another record that has rocked my sets. Now, in the last video, I spoke about playing at the, I can't remember, is it Open and Closing Party Spaces, the first electro DJ, blah, blah, blah. And I told you I started off with this record that I'm going to talk about today. I finished with Vitalic, we spoke about last time, but I started with this record. And this record I always started my sets with, and there's a couple of reasons why. So the record I'm going to be talking about is Freaks the Creeps. Okay, I'm going to talk about the original release, and then we'll talk about the releases after that with this record. But the first time I experienced this was this one. And again, it came out on my favourite label, International DJ Gigolo Records. If you don't know that label, check out that label. DJ Hell's A&R skills were just second to none. It just so happens that every release was from a different artist, and it was just incredible. So just a fluke, even though I do love that label. So hopefully the next one, episode 3, to be something different other than Gigolo Records. Again, using Sid Vicious, and that's what I liked about the release as well. You got the sleeve, the generic sleeve with the Gigolo label kind of embossed on it. And it's Freaks with the Creeps. Now, just a little bit of kind of information. I've got several copies of this. I haven't worn this one out, but I've always got several copies of my favourite records. And I've just noticed, basically, this was the original record that I bought with Freaks the Creeps, but it's not actually Freaks the Creeps. I just realised on the back it's Music for Freaks, MFF, Music for Freaks, who I love. They're a London production team who made this record, Music for Freaks. But a later variation of that, again on Gigolo Records, is Freaks. Just says Freaks. No Music for Freaks, just Freaks. And I tried to find some information why, but I couldn't. So there's a little variation in that sleeve. Freaks the Creeps. That's what I'd like to call it, not Music for Freaks, the Creeps. Now this record, the reason why I'd always start with this record, DJs out there, if you're playing kind of like in other countries for crowds you don't really know, it can be quite nerve-wracking. So the whole idea is when you're kind of DJing, you want to find tracks that you know back to the front is going to be quite easy to kind of mix, just to give you that confidence for that next mix. And this was it. It'd always start with a nice big chunky beat, and it's just kind of build, but once that bass line in this track drops, it's a really good kind of hype tune to get people hyped, because you don't want to kind of start off, build it, take about 20 minutes, they're going to build it. You want to come in, and it's not too tough, but it's such a good record, and the kind of breakout at the end as it starts to kind of break down, and it beats right to the very end, making it a lot easier kind of mix your next track into, just to give you that bit of confidence. We don't want something that's quite difficult, and it's such a good track or set starter, Music for Freaks, or Freaks as it is now, with the Creeps, You're Giving Me. I never used the kind of You're Giving Me. And again, this was a massive, massive, massive record. People play this all the time. It's very kind of stripped. The production is second to none. The bass lines is so kind of rubbery, is what I like to explain it. The beats are nice and crisp, and it's such a really good record to mix. The kind of arrangement, the phrasing with it, and it's just consistent all the way. So you can mix literally any record with this, obviously if you're in key. But this is definitely a record that never left my box. It literally was in my box since its release date, which is 2003. And 2003 was kind of the pinnacle, really, of the electroclash scene. And in Gigolo Records and all sorts, Fisher Spooner, and this was always a staple of my sets. Didn't matter where I went, travelled the world with this record. 2 records went, was the Vitalic one and this one, and there's going to be some more that I'm going to talk about as well. So in your DJ sets, you'd always have this little group of records that you know you could rely on, and these were it, and this was definitely it. Also, it used to get me out of some sticky situations. Sometimes I'd have a DJ on before me, and their last track before I'm taking over, I didn't know the track. But I knew, okay, I'm going to start with the Creeps because I can hear that bit and I can get that mixed in. And it was just a great set starter, a set saver. It's just an awesome, awesome record. So it was big, it was massive. So what happened, they re-released it. Some really good remixes on it. You can never ever beat the original Creeps from the Gigolo release, because the other side you had the Steve Bug mix, who was quite big at the time as well, and they were just iconic mixes. But then they kind of released it. Azuli did release a couple of mixes, and these are the ones I kind of liked. Again, it had the Steve Bug mix, but it had the Justin Robinson mix, which is like incredible. And there was things like I can't think they're called Vandalism. Also did a remix, which were great, but I always went back to the original. And then what happened? The Freaks have got their own label called Music for Freaks. Released that on their own label as well, which I bought because it's still got the original on there. And also there's versions on here with the vocal in it, because the Gigolo records didn't have a vocal on it, believe it or not. But the re-release did have a vocal on it, which is kind of good. It kind of give it a new dimension. Sometimes I used to drop that as well. But I did like this release as well, because you've got the original, you've got the Creepapella, because sometimes I used to mix that over some other beats coming out of the original as well, just keep that vibe going over other tracks. The Hoxton re-rub on this is really good as well. I used to play quite a lot, obviously nowhere near the man that I used to play this one here, but if I really was on the Creeps kind of mission, then I'd pull this one out as well. So that is another record in my the DJ set rockers, vinyl records that rocked my set. They never left my record box for a long time, and this never did actually. If I was to gig now, it'd be exactly the same. This record would be in there. I'd play this. So thank you very much. Again, what do you think of it? Do you know what track I'm talking about? What are your thoughts? Did you used to play it? What reaction did you get? How did you find mixing it? I really want to kind of get this kind of DJ thing debate going, and I want to find out what records never left your record box. So look, comments underneath. Let me know what you think. I look forward to seeing the next video. Thank you very much.